Man,
As
Mark
as
Few.
promised, 10 a.m. on the dot.
Mark Few, man. I don't even know how to feel about this guy at this point.
Yeah,
I love the guy, I'm a huge fan, but man, like,
yeah,
how long is he going to stay there forever? Is he going to take a job somewhere else? It's
nah,
crazy, man.
he'll stay there forever. He's got so many roots in that area. His kids are all there. Everybody's there. He will retire at Gonzaga, I think. Which for anybody watching this that hasn't heard my Mark Few story, when he was scouting Jalen, met him here. My son met him. Nicest guy in the world, man. Just super good guy. Talked to my son about his team. Talked to him about it. Just took time out of his day when he was in the middle of a scout. But anyways.
Oh, hey, we're back. College Hoops RX. With your boy Sosa Picks, joined by Spin Doc Sport, our resident college basketball genius. NCAA tournament time, you love to see it. We are so back. We never left. Last couple months have been outstanding. Spin, how we feeling today? Happy Sunday. Happy money-making weekend.
Indeed it was. I said it last night. I said we were bringing out the brooms. Wasn't kidding. We took an interesting path to get there because for about 38 and a half minutes of that game, it looked like the Zags were never even close to covering. But it's the final score that matters, and they got there. And that's something that you actually have seen throughout this tournament is you see where favorites have huge advantage, chalk the whole way, and then all of a sudden the dog sneaks in there and at the end. And that happens at this time of year because remember, the favorite don't care about the point spread, and the dog is trying to save their season. So you got to fight till the end, and you got an opportunity where they can get some quick baskets at the end, et cetera. So you see that more and more and more, and it's why I've actually started out. I did it on Friday, where only gave out 2 pregame plays to VIP and then gave out a bunch of live plays just because when you're getting points off of the pregame line, because they're so sharp, it can provide a lot of value. But we do everything pregame here, and we kicked the shit out of that too. So it was good, and I got to watch some great high school basketball last night. Got to hang out with my dad and my son, and talk basketball, and we were telling my son some old war stories that he didn't believe because they were so crazy about some of the kids that we had. And yeah, it was fun. How about you, man? How was the casino?
Man, went to the casino. It's fun. It's fun to, obviously this is the best time of year to be going to the sport. You get to hear a lot of the casuals, a lot of the people that really don't know what they're talking about, talk about the game. I think that actually was my favorite part. Seeing how people at the sportsbook bet based on being a fan. It's really, really, really something interesting, and especially when you put time into research and the way we do things. Just hearing people betting based on their fans, right?
Yep.
So just an interesting dynamic, to be totally honest. But that was probably my favorite part about yesterday. But we did have an interesting day yesterday in the tournament. Our boy Rick Pitino got sent home. We got to talk about that briefly. Sad. I'm not gonna lie, it's bittersweet. I'm a big DJ guy, huge fan of the kid, big time Jersey hoops guy. Super happy to see him advance the tournament. Super happy to see Cal get a big win against Pitino. Disappointed in St. John's, but their weaknesses showed yesterday. Referees did them no favors. That I feel like that appreciated, and I think that a lot of opportunities were taken away from players based on how the game was called. It was a tough watch. So that's how I feel. What are you taking away from Calipari advancing?
Well, you can see behind me, I got the 2 men, and the theme of the day is coaching matters. Coaching matters because I gave out A&M yesterday in VIP, and coaching mattered there because Dusty May outcoached Buzz Williams. Buzz Williams had that game won. He had that game won with about 7 minutes left. And the fact that he continued to let Taylor just chuck at will and wouldn't adjust his defense allowed Michigan what they needed to get back in the game. And they were smart about it because their field goal percentage in the second half had been going down each of the last 5 games because of the stretch of games that they've played. And so they were smart about it because they just kept attacking down low and getting to the free throw line. And rather than go to any kind of like modified zone, or rather than change any kind of matchups or scheme, they just kept Buzz just kept playing straight aggressive man and just beat and just beat the hell out of guys. You put Michigan on the free throw line that many times. That's one of the things that allowed them to get back into the game. So, that to me was the differentiation point, because with about 7 minutes left, when A&M went up by 10 and Michigan called a timeout, for me, that's an immediate switch in strategy. Is that it's their 5th game in 9 days. You know that they're not shooting the ball well. You can see they're playing on tired legs. Is that I don't know why you don't just go to some kind of zone defense and say, all right, y'all are shooting on tired legs. Y'all are shooting 26% from deep. Make them be jump shooters and beat us from the arc. What you don't do is you just play straight body up man defense all game, because then with the way the refs were calling it, it was going to allow them a whole bunch of opportunities to get to the free throw line. And lo and behold, that would be exactly what happened. And that to me was how Michigan got back in that game. It was just absolutely malpractice from a coaching standpoint from Buzz.
I do have to say this. I do have to say this in regards to the game. We saw Texas A&M all year use offensive rebounding to their advantage. They weren't able to do that yesterday. They just weren't. They got some offensive boards, but Michigan, out rebounded them, and that front line definitely gave them problems from that aspect. But you're absolutely right. Taylor just putting up a bunch of bricks and Buzz not adjusting at all is just it's kind of a travesty, to be totally honest. It really was, because they were the better basketball team. They were.
Mm-hmm. And they had Michigan. They had Michigan on the ropes. And the other thing that they did is I'm like, why are they not going to some kind of zone defense? Like, even if you don't play it during the regular season, you can go zone for some stretches, save your fouls, because you don't want to put them on the line. The last thing you want when you're up by 10 in that situation is you don't want your opponent to get threes and points with the clock stopped. They can't beat you just shooting and trading twos. So the 3-pointers weren't falling because Michigan was shooting on dead legs, and they had a short bench anyway. So that part about the game, about the scout that I had, got exactly right. They were 13 of 36 in the first half. They didn't shoot very well at all. But what the issue was is that if you're going to keep playing that physical man-to-man body-up defense, you have to know that a team is going to, or a coach like Dusty May is going to tell his players, give a bunch of pump fakes, get it down low to your bigs, and just go at these guys and get easy points from the free throw line. I put myself on the other side, and if I'm down 10 in that situation, I tell my kids, we need to get easy points. And you get, and the phrase that we always use for coaching, I borrowed this from my dad, it's called manufacturing points. And you manufacture points by getting to the free throw line and getting easy buckets like that. And that's exactly what Michigan started to do. And Buzz never saw it coming, and his guys played the exact same way. With Cal on the other side, every time Pitino made an adjustment, Cal had him schemed. I said before that I never was a huge fan of how Cal was with an X's and O's and with in-game theory and everything. He outcoached Pitino yesterday. And that pains me to say, because I love Rick And I've never been a huge fan of the X's and O's and in-game stuff for Cal, but some of the halftime adjustments he made were just fantastic. And throughout the whole game, I mean, aside from the fact that St. John's missed like 4,000 layups, I think at one point they were 4 for 17 on layups.
It was bad. It was
horrendous. You cannot do that in an NCAA tournament game and expect to win. It doesn't matter it doesn't matter if you're Duke playing like a 16 seed. You can't do that in an NCAA tournament game and hope to have success. But the adjustments that Cal made at halftime, especially to the ones that allowed his guards to keep getting over the top and keep getting to the rim, were just fantastic. They were just fantastic, and it just, Cal was one step ahead of Pitino all game, and that was not something that I expected. I also think that the way that he spread the floor and the way that Arkansas spread the floor really exposed St. John's. It really exposed them from the standpoint of, they're big and they're athletic, but their overall basketball acumen, it got a little bit exposed yesterday. And I think that maybe a lot of us were a little too high on the Johnnies running through the Big East. Not that they're not a bad team or didn't deserve a 2 seed, but some of their weaknesses got exposed yesterday. Perimeter quickness was one of them. They're big and they're athletic and they body the hell out of you, but their perimeter quickness was exposed yesterday. And what Cal schemed offensively, especially with the high ball screen, post rolling to the opposite elbow, and then setting a back screen and then skipping the ball for threes, that was brilliant. That was absolutely brilliant, because then St. John's couldn't bring their help on the drive, and it allowed Flan and the others to just get to the rim over and over and over and over again. And so I have to say, Cal outcoached Pitino. Cal schemed it right, and that's why these two guys are behind me today, because coaching matters at this stage. Sosa, you're freezing. Sosa's frozen. Sosa, you're frozen. So I'll keep going. Sosa can join back when he can. Elsewhere, Sosa called it dead on. It's one of the reasons why I stayed off this game. Texas Tech was just too much for Drake. Too much everything. Too much length, too much athleticism, too much size, too much a lot of different things. Drake at one point had a 6-point lead, but that was very, very short-lived. And from the second half on, Drake was never realistically in that game. Texas Tech is looking like the team that we thought that they would be to start the season, and the team that I know I have talked about at multiple points during the year that this would be a Final Four team. The other one, though, is the line looked wonky, and we barely talked about it yesterday, but it's a good reminder that when a line looks wonky is usually a reason, because Wisconsin was a 1.5-point dog to BYU. And I know that I got a few comments about like, is that a trap, whatever. And looking at the game, I mean, there was a little bit of me that like, I got it, but really what just absolutely failed Wisconsin was their 3-point defense, and the fact that they tried to get into an up and down jump shooting contest with BYU. And that's the kind of game you don't want to play with the Cougars. The way that you beat the Cougars is by slowing them down, by ugling it up, by bodying them up. And Wisconsin was perfectly content to just run 1,000 miles an hour and shoot a bunch of jump shots. And that is a way to ruin against this Cougars team. So the line was very, very correct. I mean, you see a 3-6 and you see a 3 team that just got to their conference championship and they're a 1.5-point dog. Immediately your radar should go off, and obviously we can see why. And so if you're back, I don't know if you watched any of the BYU Wisconsin game, but I mean,
not a minute of it. I didn't watch a minute of that.
Yeah, even though they only lost by 2, Wisconsin was never in that game. That game wasn't close. BYU led by 11 at halftime. Wisconsin kind of made a little bit of a late run, but Wisconsin did not lead for 1 second of that game. They were never ahead at any point. So that game was pretty, for as much as a six seed versus a 3 seed can be, that was a belt to ass. It really was, all game. So, and then I got to give a shout out to Matt Painter. I'm one of his haters in March, but the man got it done yesterday. Sent Will Wade packing out east to NC State.
They look fantastic. Fantastic from start. They look fantastic from start to finish.
Oh, they did. They controlled and their interior defense, which has been their Achilles heel all season, only held McNeese. McNeese only made 18 2-point field goals, and they were under 30% from 2-point range. They turned the ball over 11 times. They got out rebounded almost 2-1. That game was also not, I mean, it's weird to say that a 14-point game wasn't that close, but it really wasn't. That was not close in the least. Any other ones you want to talk about, or shall we get on with what the people really want is what's going to make them some dollars?
Yesterday was a memory, a good memory. Today we take on the Bucks again and we beat the shit out of them again. So let's get to it. Let's get to today's games.
Actually, before we do, let's go through the chat. Moneybag Tone, good morning to you, my guy. What's up, Adams Digest? I know Chuck said this in VIP. It was awesome because Chuck got -4.5 and we gave out Gonzaga -5 or +5.5. Bang, bang. Double result. Now, what would have really been neat is if somebody did both of those and middled that at 5, because that is threading the needle in college basketball. Stephen Harrison, good morning, my guy. I was on Houston myself. Houston full.
Bro.
What's that?
No, I was just saying what's up to him. That's
yeah. No. It got a little hairy, but I never got a sense that Gonzaga was going to lose that game or that was going to win that game ever. Luke Murphy, glad we can get you the picks in before you were out of province and stayed off the Houston. Yeah, except for we had Gonzaga to cover though, not to win. I'm just giving you I'm just giving you crap, Luke. Chuck saying Cal owned that, man. He sure did. Mom Who Bets, always with us. Good morning. Thank you to you as well. Love that you join us every day. Chuck saying, I know RJ Lewis was complete oh boy, was he ever.
They were trying so hard to get a quote out of Patino. They were trying so hard to get a quote out of him about RJ Lewis. He said it straight up. He missed. He wasn't playing well. He wasn't hitting no fucking shots. That's why he was sitting next to me. Keep it moving. You're not going to get me to throw my player under the bus. Wasn't playing because he wasn't playing well, period. That's why he wasn't on the floor.
Yeah, and that should be the case with really any player at this stage of the game, because you got to have the guys on the floor the best 5 to help your team win. And it doesn't matter if it's the Naismith Player of the Year. If he's not helping your team at that point and he has a potential to hurt you, then he should be on the bench. It's just that simple. I never, just real quick as a coach, I never understand that argument about, well, he's our best player, so he has to be on the floor. No, he doesn't. Is he helping you win that basketball game? Or more specifically, is he hurting you? Because even if he's not helping you, if he's hurting you, he should be sitting next to the coach, just like Lewis was. I 100% agree with that one. He wasn't helping. RJ Lewis was just bad yesterday. He was bad.
He picked the worst day to have his worst game of his career. He was terrible.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And it's not an indictment about him as a player. It's just sometimes good players have bad games, and he's been really good all year. So it sucks for St. John's that he picked, like you said, that game to have a bad one.
Game.
YGFROG, salute to you as well. Had A&M, yeah, so did I. Buzz.
I didn't.
I know you didn't.
That's why we weren't allowed to. If y'all noticed, that's why we weren't allowed to talk. Anytime I talk about it on the show. If me and Spin are on opposite sides of a play, we will not discuss the game. Why? Because the last thing we want to do is come up here and give y'all indecision in your minds. We want to give you things to bet on and not reasons to think as to why not to bet them. So that's why we didn't talk about it. It's a couple other games we probably won't touch on today because of the same thing. But that's just how it is. We're not going to sit here and put doubt in your head after one person says they're betting something. So I think that's something that's really important for us.
And that's why this man's behind me, because he earned it. He earned the victory for his team yesterday. He had the strategy, whereas James Jack, I actually laughed the first time I read this one. He was Buzz Lightyear. Yeah, he was Buzz something. It certainly wasn't a basketball coach. Steven again, yep, Michigan. My bad one was UCLA with the points. Yeah, I bought into that hype too because of their length. Their offense was just too bad. It was just so bad. Godspeed KD. What's good to you, my guy? What's good to you? Logan in the house. What's up, my guy? Wavy Vision is headed to the Raleigh games. Oh, nice. Enjoy it. ES Gooner saying Purdue getting exposed next game. Man, I don't know. They looked awful freaking good.
They look really good. This is Painter looks legit.
Yeah, Lowe saying it's going to be a cyclone day, boys. You'll hear about that game pretty soon. And then YGFR, we'll get to that one. And then ODG Bets. Today is the day Walter Clayton Jr. collects third place votes for National Player of the Year. All right. And I just had to put this one up. Lowe saying Buzz the Bozo. Boy, was he. And who is Jay Maple? What's up to you as well? All right. While we're talking about these plays, if there's any ones that we don't touch on, things that you want just a general overall take on, put it in the chat and we will get to it at the end. All righty. Let's roll. Because Sosa and I both got to play on this one. So we're kicking off the day at 12:10 Eastern. We got number 8 UConn, the defending two-time champs, going against a lot of people's national champion, Florida. Florida is laying a 9.5 number, and the total is set at 150.5. So Sosa, have at it while I bring up the Ken Palm. What are we thinking?
We're going with UConn. Nah, listen. In this game, I'm believing in Danny Hurley to keep this game close for a half. I think that my favorite look is not necessarily them to cover in the first half, but if I'm getting an over 32.5 and an over 33.5 team total on UConn against a Florida team that has been, boat racing everyone, they score a lot of points. But I think what we're learning as these games have gone on is that people in the SEC really don't play defense. They go after like this pro style of basketball where it's pace and threes and very 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 pro forward, and it just allows any team on the other side to really score points. I like UConn to give me 34 in the first half. First play of the day for me is going to be UConn's team total over 33.5. I'll probably even take the 34.5 if I couldn't get to 33. Because, like I said, we've seen Florida score a lot of points. We've also seen them give up a lot of points. So that's going to be my favorite look and only bet in this game is that one play. And I know you have something kind of correlating.
Somewhat correlating, because I think that there's many worlds where these both hit. So I am on Florida for this game, but it's only in the first half. And here's why. A number of metrical reasons why, but the game script that I see for this one is a very high scoring first half. I see Florida definitely. I mean, Florida is who they are at this stage of the game. They, as you talked about, they're not a team that's going to look to slow it down, to try to ugly the game up. That they make people play at their pace. Now, the other problem that I have with thinking about a UConn first half spot here is that the two things that UConn usually does when they are competitive early in games is that they use their size and their length, especially their length on the wing, to get to the rim and to get easy baskets. And two is that they're facing a team that is either average or below average in defending the three-point shot, because that's been their Achilles heel all year. You can see it on the chart, 232nd overall. Their overall three-point defense, it's been an issue all year. In fact, especially away from home, they allow 38.8%. And when you have a team that has guys like Clayton and like some of their other shooters, it's ripe to get an early punch from a Florida team that has done this over and over and over again in first halves in the second half part of the SEC season and in the first half of the SEC tournament games. So you also have a Florida team where, especially in the first half, I talked about this metric yesterday, and it was floor percentage. And floor percentage, again, for those that don't know, is the percentage of your total possessions that you get at least 1 point on. Over their last three, and granted, one of them was against Norfolk State, so we have to grade on a curve here. 61.1%, even dating back last five, it's close to 60%. That mark, number one in the country by far. No other team is even at 57-ish%. And actually, the number one team in the country for the season is Gonzaga at 55.4. So Florida their offense is just electric. Now, what I can see, and this is why I think that these are correlated, is that their defensive percentage, floor percentage, has been over 50, which would be close to sub 300. We talked about this with Auburn yesterday. If you remember, this is a very, very similar situation where you have a high efficiency offense that's been kind of shaky or unwilling to play defense, and you get them against a team like UConn. And I mean, Creighton was a somewhat similar team to UConn in overall strength, and they score points. Now, the problem that I have with taking UConn to cover first half is the two reasons that I mentioned. Is number one is Florida's offense has been just so ungodly efficient, and number two is that UConn's main weakness defensively is and will continue to be defending the 3-point shot. They do a lot of doubling down low. They do a lot of stuff up high where if they're hedging on screens, you can slip out of it and get a 3-point shot. The other thing is that their overall defensive rebounding has been decent, but over the last few games has been down a little bit. Florida, as you can see, number 6 in the country in offensive rebound percentage, and the number one time to leave yourself susceptible to a three is off of a back tap or off of an offensive rebound. So for those reasons, the game script that I see is a very high scoring first half. I see kind of like a 43 to 35-ish type of first half with Florida. I also see Florida opening it up a little bit to start the second half, and then UConn making a comeback at the end, kind of similar to what Gonzaga did to Houston yesterday, kind of similar to what UCLA did at the very end to Tennessee. Very, very similar game script to that. So first official play will be Florida in the first half only at -6.5. Definitely not looking at them full game. I think that the 9 is the right number, and I think that there's way too many places, way too many opportunities for UConn to backdoor cover that one.
Yes, sir. We're going to get on to the next play, which is in the NIT. Again, I would never bet the NIT unless Spin said to, so that's why I'm here for this one. You got Oklahoma State taking on an SMU team that's laying 9.5 with a total of 157. 2 p.m. start, and all of these games are played on the favorites' home floor until the semis, correct?
Correct.
So that would explain why the line is 9.5.
Yep.
All right. So what are we betting on, and why are we betting on it in this particular matchup?
Well, Oklahoma State, for as good as they are at home, especially a little bit better defensively, they are bad defensively on the road. Over 50% floor percentage for points allowed. That would be almost sub 280 in the country. You can see some of their metrics with their effective field goal percentage defense, 289th overall, 3-point defense, 235th. 2-point defense, almost sub 300. You see where I'm going with this. Oklahoma State is a team that not only do they play very, very fast, so they give their opponents all kinds of possessions, just tons and tons and tons of possessions. They also have zero interest whatsoever in playing defense, especially when they're away from home. This matches up really well with an SMU team that is 118th in the country in number of possessions per game at 71.4. It's actually better at home. It's at 72.8. That would be in the top 50. Their offense is much more efficient at home too. You can see some of their marks when they're top 50 and top 30 in three-point shooting and in field goal and in effective field goal percentage. But the big thing here is that they're shooting almost 55% effective field goal percentage at home. They have multiple games over 80 on their home floor, and that's against better defenses. They also shoot almost 37% from deep at home. They're just so much better down in Dallas. And this Oklahoma State team, if you've ever watched them, not only do they have some defensive liabilities, they also like on offense, it's just take the ball and go. It's just, let's just forego defense. And let's just hurry up and get down on offense. They play at the 13th fastest pace in college basketball. SMU plays at a top 100 pace. And the other thing here, too, is SMU is 28th in the country nationally in potential points in fast break and transition off of steals. Their overall effective field goal percentage in transition is one of the top 100. Oklahoma State, 207th defensively in that same metric. So this is a game where I can just see a ton of points. I can see a ton of shots for sure. And Oklahoma State they just completely forego defense. The other thing they do on the road is they foul. They foul a ton. 260th overall in defensive field goals, or free throws attempted over field goals attempted. And even worse is on the road, they allow their opponents to shoot almost 23 free throws per game. That mark would be almost sub 330, and that's not good for against a team like SMU that has such a high efficiency offense. So the team total for SMU is high, but I don't even think it's high enough. It's at 83.5. I can honestly see SMU putting up 90 today. And if they're making jump shots, and just with the way Oklahoma State plays, and with this being a season potential game, potentially season-ending game where teams fight till the end, there are actually worlds where they can put up 100. I'm not even kidding. Oklahoma State's defense is just absolutely poor, completely poor on the road. The other thing SMU has is a height advantage, 48th overall in average height compared to 211th for Oklahoma State. You have across the front line, you have 6'11", 7'2". You do have Asume at 6'10", but then you have 6'6", 6'8", 6'5". So a lot of length, a lot of height. I just see SMU scoring in droves today. So SMU team total over 83.5. And honestly, they might there's many worlds where they hit 90. I can't say enough things about how trash Oklahoma State's defense is on the road. So, all right. The next one, Sosa has the South region, and he's got the number 6 Ole Miss Chris Beards against the Iowa State Cyclones. Iowa State is laying 5.5 with a total of 145.5. This kicks off at around 7:45 Eastern time. I think I already know what you're going to say, but I'm just going to mute myself and just let you speak on them.
I'm not going to lie, bro. I thought about it, and I'm not going to talk. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? What the fuck?
No, it's choppy.
What's going on with my computer, dude? Like, I don't know what the fuck is going on with this.
You want me to go on to the next one and then you can come back? Or
Yeah.
That's fine. That's fine. We'll come back to that game while Sosa gets reconnected. All right. I'm doing the NIT again. I told you there's value. I told you there's value on NIT games, especially when there's all kinds of NCAA ball going on. So for this one, we got, I mean, I'm gonna ride my Irvine boys till the end. I've been on them so many times, VIP here and and elsewhere. You got Jacksonville State heading all the way out west to the Brent Event Center at 9 Eastern to take on the Anteaters. Cal Irvine laying 7. It's 7.5 in some places. The total of 139.5. And I backed Irvine most of the year. I'm not going to stop now. This is an Irvine spot, 7, 7.5, whatever. Doesn't make a difference. You have a number of advantages that Irvine has here. Number one is that you see Jacksonville's metrics, 2-point offense, not good, 260th overall in the country. But their other problem here is that they're top half of the country in percentage of shots, 50% from 2-point range. That is not good when you're playing the number 2-point defense in the country. Irvine's interior defense is very, very elite. It also helps when you have a 7'1" German in Leuchten, big body. And a lot of times what they'll do, especially against teams that like to try to score inside, is just plant them in the middle of the lane and force teams to beat you from the outside. You can see here in their top 6 or 7 players, not a single person over 6'7". Mason Nicholson at 6'10", he's not really like a scorer. He's more of a kind of like role-playing big man. And what I've seen Cal Irvine do in situations like this was how they beat UC San Diego the first time, was they just plant Leuchten in the middle of the lane and say, I dare you to come down here and try to score against us, knowing that they have all kinds of athleticism on the wing with Devin Tillis and Miles Che. Justin Hone is a super quick point guard. So they have all of the weapons to force you to shoot from the 3-point line. Jacksonville State, not bad. You can see 34.3% overall from the 3-point line. However, this is one of those where, I mean, if you believe in it in the regular season, because it worked, you can believe in it now, is that you do have a team going across the country to play a game on a road game on their opponent's home floor. You also have a Jacksonville State team that is especially recently about sub 200 in 3-point shooting. They only have a few guys that can knock down the 3. So if they're not going to be able to score on the inside, and you can see here too, they're 234th in percentage of shots that are from the 3-point line, then if Leuchten's holding down the middle, I'm just not sure where their offense comes from. I'm really not sure where it comes from. The other thing that you can do to beat Irvine is their guards can be a little shaky with the ball. 250th in turnover rate, 18.1%. They turn the ball over about 1 every 5 possessions. Jacksonville State's defense is not built on that. Jacksonville State's defense is built on defending the jump shots. And that is something where Irvine's high efficiency offense can just absolutely dominate. I got to see if Leuchten is going to have a points prop. Since it's not an NCAA tournament game, he's probably not. If he did, I would probably take it. Might even take a rebounds prop on this one as well. But I just don't see enough opportunities here for Jacksonville State to score the basketball, because where they take the most of their shots, Irvine has covered with 7'1" and about an 8.5-foot wingspan, and they also have a lot of athleticism on the wing. So this is probably not one that's going to be hitting like early, meaning like you probably won't see Irvine get out to like a 13-2 start, just because that's just not who they are. I use the "Remember the Titans" quote from Denzel Washington about like, my playbook's like Novocaine, just few basic things, just give it time, it'll work. That's what Irvine does. It's just death by 1,000 cuts, and they keep grinding you down and grinding you down and grinding you down. Next thing you know, there's 5 minutes left and you're down by like 12. So last play for me would be Cal Irvine -7 or -7.5, whatever it is. This might even go to 8 by the time the game tips. So whenever you're watching this, any of those are fine. I think there's many worlds where they win by double digits.
I'm going to give my quick piece on the Ole Miss matchup. Listen, I'm not going to give any official plays on the Ole Miss matchup. All I'm going to say is this. I believe in Chris Beard. I'm a huge fan of his. I do not want to get on this stream and speak like a fan. He's a great basketball coach. We just saw him just have an amazing, easy walkthrough against North Carolina. I believe he is the best game-to-game planner of a basketball game that you see in college basketball right now. Attention to details are always there, and adjustments are always there. So if you're betting this game, best of luck to you. I am not going to give too much. I'm not going to speak too much on it, to be totally honest. I can't. I want to, but I'm gonna refrain from that. You know, self-controlled. Yep. You know what I mean? It's very important. But I will have some more plays on the timeline. I'm gonna just drop in about 20 minutes or so. But just wanted to make sure we got back on. We've been on a roll. We appreciate everybody that's been tuning in with us. These last couple months have been incredible. Just getting back to doing daily content. A lot of stuff coming from Daily Bread over the next couple of weeks. Baseball's here. The thing is, I think a lot of you got introduced to Spin through college basketball, but I got introduced to him, or I met him because he does baseball. So don't be surprised if the winning like this just continues right into baseball season, because he's probably the best at that too. So, I mean, I know he's the best at college ball, but baseball, I know he's the best at that. So, looking forward to that. Yeah, just a shameless plug. I don't care.
No. Well, no, here. I was just going to shamelessly plug myself too. So if you notice right here, that was our graph last year in VIP for baseball. And this,
I don't know how to read graphs.
Well, here, that says plus 55, plus 60 units, plus 45 units, and that would be the end of the MLB season. So that's where we started, and it's kind of like that. It's kind of like that Price is Right game show, right? With the mountain climber, it's like just keep climbing, except for we don't fall off. We just go like that. So finished up for the season last year for strikeout props finished at a 57.4% win rate. That is my third year in a row winning at 56% or higher. Third year in a row winning 40 units during the season or more. And this year, I'm actually going to do it a little bit differently have the same win rate but more value. So I usually start off with half unit props until we establish a baseline about 2 weeks into the season, and then go to 1 unit props. This year, I'm going to do the same thing, but then after the first month of the season, we're going to, for those of you in VIP, I've already told you this, and I've told a few of this, and you're going to love this. We're going to go 2 unit plus props. There's some that, there's too many that I go back to last year where I wish that we would have just hammered the living hell out of it, and I stuck to my half unit or full unit betting. This year, we're going to do 2 unit plus props, because there's some that are during the season where, if you've been with me for VIP, is that it's just, there's just so much value on these things. And when you cap them like I do, there's even more. So like I said, 3 straight seasons, close to 60% winning percentage, grand total over 3 years of up somewhere around 140 some odd units. And that's just betting half unit or 1 unit per. We are going to pick a few this year, and we're going to go 2 units, and even in some cases 3. I'm tired of I'm tired of letting these assholes keep some of their money when they set stupid lines. So we're going to make them pay this year. If you want to join up, there's a way to do it. There's a way to do it. DM me. You can DM Sosa. You can go right here. We got all the stuff for you. It's coming next week. So strap in if you're in VIP too, because we're ready. All right.
YGFR. OG, best chance to outright win today. Oregon. Listen, I'm not talking about the Ole Miss game. I have no takes on that. If you bet it, best of luck. You will not get me to say shit on the timeline or on any public platform. I got nothing.
Yep. I would say Illinois. Kentucky pulled away against Troy, but not till late. They gave up way too many baskets inside. Illinois has a lot more size and a lot more offense. So if I'm taking a dog for this one. I'm probably going with Illinois. ES Gooner saying thoughts on Florida first half money line combined with first half over 68.5 points. I don't like taking high juice stuff like that with the money line, even though, I mean, I think if you're going to do it, you might as well just get yourself more of a payday and just take the spread. But I mean, if you want more safety, that's cool. I got you. And I think, do we have any other games? Nope, I don't think so.
You got everything. Ole Miss dog of the day. KD, you already know, man. This shit's gonna be a hell of a year, man. We lit. Now you talking great. Or Oregon for sure. See, we on the same page, Lo. You feel me? I like Oregon.
And with that, I think that's everything. So, all right. Thank you, everybody, for joining. We appreciate y'all. Greatly appreciate it. We love doing this. One last from Frank. Who's going to be the lowest seed to win today? Like, do you want like the number or do you want like the team?
I think it'd be Oregon, right? I think it'd be Oregon.
Well, that'd be what, a 5?
Bro, it's been Chalk City. So like,
Oregon's a 5.
Like people believe in St. Mary's. I don't. I think St. Mary's gets ran out the gym badly today. Alabama's going to play their best game of the season today. They're going to play freely and they're not going to miss. Watch. I think coming on the timeline. Don't worry.
No, I think a 5. Actually, for me, it would be 6. 6 for me because I think that Illinois has a really good chance to beat Kentucky. All right. With that, best of luck to y'all, and we'll see you next time.
Peace.